All right, guys, I think we're live. Not sure if we're live. Let's see. All right, if you guys can hear me, I'm gonna wait a couple minutes for some people to join in, if any. How's everybody's day? Let's see if anyone's in here. Is anybody in here? How's everybody's day? If somebody's in here, type it up in the chat. All right, doesn't look like too many people are gonna join, so I'll just get started with reviewing the overall market conditions for SPY and QQQ. Let's start off with SPY. I like SPY today. All right, so yesterday we were looking at the 1 hour chart. All right, guys, and we were pretty much looking for a bounce, right? We were looking at a bounce and we were using the fib levels as our guide. Yesterday we were right around here, this 0.382 level. I said, if we bounce from here, we'll definitely get some continuation. Continuation on this move. Looks like some more people are joining. Welcome to the stream. And feel free to type in the chat if you guys want. I got that up and running now. And hopefully the video quality is a little bit better. Today I noticed that the video quality wasn't that great last time. Okay, so yeah, yesterday we were looking for a 1 hour bounce, right? We didn't know where that was going to happen. 382, I mentioned that that's going to favor continuation, and we ended up starting a bounce down here in the morning. Decided to play some puts on like Coinbase. So let's go to the 5 minute. This was what I was looking at during the day. So this was our pre-market. We ended up dumping down past this. We didn't get a bounce. We got a slight bounce there on SPY in the morning, and we just ended up dumping. There wasn't much signal here on SPY in terms of a bounce at the 0.5 level, and it ended up occurring down here. So when you're trying to catch a bounce, you would go to the 1 minute and look for a trend change, uh, ideally around this 428 level. All right, so what were we looking at here? So we were looking for our trend change here. There was a low, higher low on the 1 minute. The 1 minute took off, and then we changed to the 5 minute, right? So that's how I like to do my progressions. I'm gonna repeat this for anyone that might be new, right? We look for a 1 minute trend change, and once that fails, right? So it failed right around here. You see there's that low, and then it didn't make another high. So then we zoom out, go to the 5 minute, and this is gonna be important for going towards tomorrow. We got a nice 5 minute bounce. All right, and that failed right around here. You can see there was our low of the 5 minute bounce, and then we didn't get over this high again, and we failed it, right? So now we can zoom out to the 1 hour, which is where we were originally looking. So when that happens, when you're looking for a 1 hour bounce and then you end up back at the 1 hour, so now I'm going to go from the 5 minute to the 1 hour. All right, so now you're back where you started, right? We're looking for the 1 hour bounce to start the day. and then uh, we're back at the 1 hour bounce, right? So that doesn't make any sense. So when that happens, what that tells me is that we're tightening up in a range. And I think I mentioned that in the chat, in the uh, in the trading room or whatever. So we go back and zoom out, and we're looking for a tightening range here, back in the 5 minute or even the 1 minute. So we had our high of the day, all right, and then we're looking at this range, right? So you could either play this like this, something like this, uh, right? So right around here, I knew that SPY was gonna go up, and what I mentioned in the chat was that we were gonna look for a rejection up here at this last 1 hour resistance. And the reason why we were looking that, I mentioned it in the last video, is because we retraced all the way back to the 618, right? So that favors like a tightening range or a like a bearish. It doesn't favor continuation to the upside. It's pretty much what I'm trying to get at there. Uh, let's see. VUR FYI. What is that? Uh, Hazes. Can you explain what VUR FYI? I don't know what that means. But anyway, we tightening pattern, and we knew we were looking for the 1 hour bounce. So I played calls here, and in the chat I mentioned that it's pretty much the same thing on QQQ. I think I typed up QQQ is gonna have a rejection up here in the 350s, but I ended up playing it on, yeah, I played it on QQQ actually, the rejection, and I actually played SPY long on this tightening range. Um, so yeah, that was the end of the day. And then we had some wild earnings action here, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are confused as to what's happening. So for that, we can go back to our progression on the big time frame, right? So we were looking for a 1 hour bounce, okay? And you guys are probably gonna see what I'm heading to here. We're looking for the 1 hour bounce. It didn't happen, it rejected, so we zoom out. Usually I zoom out to the 1 day. So we're back where we started. We're looking for a daily, a bounce on the daily. So right away, that's the same thing as today, guys. What's going to happen here is we're going to have a tightening range until the Fed meeting. The Fed meeting is going to be super important. Uh, can you guys hear me in the chat? I wonder if you guys can hear me. I'm not exactly sure, but I hope you guys can hear me. What we're going to have is a tightening range tomorrow. So that's going to be a little boring, but it's going to be predictable up until like noon or maybe a little bit before noon. So you can see it pretty clearly on the 1 hour time frame. I mean on a 30-minute time frame. So we got our low down here, and now we're kind of forming this tightening range, same as today. So pretty boring, but as you can see now, let's look at the futures chart. What can we expect? Because the futures chart is a little more up to date. So we've got our tightening range on SPY, and this is going to be about the same for all of every stock on the market. It's going to follow whatever the Fed says. It's going to follow that, right? All right, so we got our low there, and this is the range we're looking for, right? So if tonight, for whatever reason, we end up going up here, you can look to buy some puts under whatever this number is, 4410 on the SPX. And on the other hand, if it goes down in the morning, um, obviously you can buy calls once it gets down here at this level, buy calls, right? And then your stop level is this level down here. So pretty simple, guys. I would be comfortable with trading each way. You see it's right in the middle on SPX, and I believe the NASDAQ is about the same. So we're gonna tighten up pretty much in this range. And you can also look at it a different way, like on the daily chart. Okay, so that's a little messy. Where is this? All right, so you can see we had this big candle on what was this, Monday? I think it was Monday. No, this was Monday. This was Friday. We had this huge candle, right? Now all of the action that's going to happen tomorrow is going to be within this big candle. And even more so, it's going to be within this candle. And you see how they're all inside of each other? Uh, so there's 3 candles in a row that haven't broken outside. So your levels are going to keep being the top of the candle, of the last candle, right? If you get a break of this low, right? So let's draw that out on, let's draw that out instead on QQQ so I can give you guys some levels. All right, let's look at the 4 hour so we can include, after hours. So I think this is, yeah, this is still today. Is this today? Yes. Okay, so pretty much all of your action tomorrow is going to happen within this level and down here at this level. So those levels are 351 and 338, right? Once we break out of these 2 levels, then we'll get a clear direction maybe. All right, guys. So what I'm thinking with the Fed meeting is I don't know what they're going to say. Obviously, nobody knows. But usually with that Fed meeting, there's an initial move. Okay. Usually when it happens, there's an initial move. Uh, and it's usually the opposite of where the market's going. All right. So watch for that initial move, right? We got our tightening range right here, right? The one I mentioned, something like this. So tomorrow we're gonna, zigzag through here, and then it might break, right? Initially, you might get a reaction like this, but I think whatever the initial reaction is, you should play the opposite of it, if that makes sense. Or if you're really quick, you're a sniper, play it and then exit real quick, and then maybe play it the other way. So whatever the reaction is, I think, so don't quote me on this, but it might be opposite of the initial reaction, right? I think that happened on the last Fed meeting as well, but don't quote me on that. All right, it's just something that I've uh, I've kind of watched. All right, so that leaves us with that. All right, I'm assuming people want to talk about Microsoft. Microsoft had earnings, so that's this big after hours move that happened on QQQ. The initial reaction was bearish. I think Microsoft was down like, I don't know what, 3-4%, and then it ended up popping up. Now everyone's, confused. Futures aren't really moving. So that's that tightening range, guys. The market doesn't want to give you any clues as to where it's going. every day has ended like a soap opera. You know, on yesterday it ended right at the 1 hour high. Like it doesn't give you enough information to make a clear decision. So let's take a look at Microsoft. Let's just type it up here. MSFT. And if you guys want me to look at any stock, just type it up in the live chat, and I'll look it up because this is all I'm looking for tomorrow. Pretty much QQQ and SPY. That's all I'm gonna be looking at. Maybe Tesla and Coinbase a little bit. Okay. So Microsoft, I got a lot of lines going around here. All right, let's close this. Let's see what this is. Okay, so let's zoom out. Let's zoom out to the 1 day. So same thing here, same thing as the rest of the market, right? And I think this is after hours. They got all the way down here. 269. Giggity. All right, got down all the way to 269, I think. Yeah, after hours got all the way to 269. So let's look at it on the 4 hour. All right, so that's another huge move. Obviously, we were trying to bounce here. So let's set our fibs. So it already broke it, guys. I guess the fib doesn't really matter as much here. Um, but same thing as the Nasdaq went down to the 0.618, which doesn't favor continuation. And honestly, I'm not too sure on this one, guys. What I'm seeing here is obviously this long bottom wick favors to the upside, right? But the daily trend is not good at all. Let's see, daily trend. Pretty much the bulls need to change the daily trend tomorrow. So we got this long wick. Pretend there's a wick down here. This one actually has a wick and it's now green, and we're like right around this red line. So let's change some of this to green. This is a support line now. And we're at this resistance, pretty much 300 level. And we really need to get over the last daily high, which is up here at 313. So I'm pretty sure tomorrow there's going to be heavy shorting on this one right around 300. So what I want to see from this one is it still needs to find another 1 hour low. So it's going to need to come down here, maybe to 280, and try to make its way up. Would be what I'm thinking on this one. But not too sure on this one. This is, since tomorrow QQQ tomorrow, it's gonna be mostly just a tightening range. It's not really gonna make a move to the upside. I don't expect this to go up too crazy. They did have a good earnings, but even if it does open up here, I would expect it to still make that 1 hour higher low compared to 269. So that's what I'm looking at for Microsoft. All right, guys. All right, how many people we got in here? We got about 2 people. You guys don't have any tickers. I guess the other thing that I was going to talk about is another important thing that's coming up. It's earnings, and the biggest name on here is obviously Tesla, and that's going to be after the close. So I guess some people will have a question on whether they should play Tesla or not. Um, and the answer to that is I wouldn't, but probably wouldn't play Tesla too much, especially on a swing, unless I have some big profit. Um, but we can take a look at Tesla real quick. Tesla is also kind of in a tightening range of some sort. Um, and then I drew the fib here, so let's zoom out to the weekly view to get a high level view of what's going on. Logic Tech or Logic? So this to me looks somewhat like a bull flag, but it's already retraced over 50%. So um, I'm kind of expecting this to keep tightening up until something else happens. I don't know, maybe earnings, who knows? We kind of did this pattern down here on the last, was it the last earning maybe? Let's zoom back out here. So we had earnings, had two earnings. So one earnings it dumped, and then the next earning it dumped as well. And then we got a huge move up. So this one looked something like this. This pattern was like this, and then we have our bottom, right? That kind of looks like similar to what we have going on, but not really because we already broke our bottom there at 890. So we broke the bottom, but we're bouncing pretty hard, right? So what I would expect from this one going into earnings is maybe we get some sort of a bounce, in my opinion. Definitely a bounce, uh, I would hope. And then since we're on the daily, we're going to expect a lower high compared to these two levels over here, which are 1070 and then whatever this is, 1100-ish level, and hopefully it can, set another low there, right? So we'll have a, stair step in the right direction. But I'm not too sure on Tesla, guys, to be honest. It's all going to depend on earnings. Second scenario is uh, so that's the first scenario, and I would probably assume that a lot of sellers are going to be up in this range for Tesla. But this is Tesla. Tesla's crazy. Has burned short sellers left and right. So I would not be trying to short this. The other scenario is we get a bad Fed meeting and then a bad reaction to earnings, and we just fall through this level. This would be super bearish for me, guys. You know, uh, there's also like a tightening range somewhat that's going on. Kind of looks like a bull flag, right? So let's take off this, and it would look something like this. All right. So we kind of bounced off that level, and it kind of looks like a bull flag, and maybe trade in this range for a while. Who knows, right? Go up, trade in this range till we can break out or break down. Not too sure on Tesla, undecided, but I think a bounce. It's calling for a bounce. So who knows? Um, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so on the 1 hour, it kind of lost the 1 hour there. Um, and to be honest, guys, now that I'm zooming into this, okay, all right, yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see it. We've got shoulder, shoulder, head, and another shoulder, and then we got this downtrend, and then we got a bear flag here, right? And also, uh, it's losing the 1 hour right here. So let's zoom out to the 4 hour and see what we're looking at. So maybe so the 4 hours trying to bounce as well. Maybe we're looking at this on the 4 hour, guys. So we got our low. So if we look at this from a 4 hour perspective, you got one low here at 850, another here around 895-ish, and high here, and the next high would need to go over 950 for this to continue to be bullish, okay, on the 4 hour, or a break of this 900 or 895 level. So maybe mark this down on your charts. So this is pretty important, I guess. So on the 4 hour, we're trying to catch a bounce, continue the bounce, and it needs to get all the way over 950. All right, and then you see all these wicks, super long top wicks. That's a little bearish to me. So we got the bear flag going, bear flag, and if we definitely break under this 890 level, that's gonna, or even 895, that's gonna signal some bearish action for me, guys. All right. So two things to watch for Tesla. We got this bear flag, but also on the bigger picture, we've got like a bull flag going on. So, two things to watch there for Tesla, in my opinion. So it's kind of that's why if you're a little inexperienced, I wouldn't recommend Tesla. Just definitely one for the pros, and obviously you need to have a bigger account to play Tesla. All right, Logitech. Somebody mentioned Logitech. Did they have earnings, guys? Logitech. Let's see, Logitech. Where's Logitech? Did they have earnings, guys? Might be blind. I might be blind. I know they had earnings soon. All right, we can see it in the chart. Oh, shoot. What happened? Oh, my bad, guys. Don't know what I did there. Is the screen quality pretty good? I know the last video was terrible. All right, guys, my computer's freezing up. I'm trying to look for Logitech. Logitech. What is going on here? All right, Logitech. Let's look at the 1 month because I honestly have not looked at this chart, or maybe I have. Got some lines going on here. No, I don't. I have never looked at this chart. All right, so from a monthly perspective, all right, here we got our COVID lows in March. So let's start marking this up right away with the fib. All right, we're bouncing right at the 0.6618. So what this tells me right away is pretty much that it's not going to get over this 140 level anytime soon. All right, so we've got a nice lower wick on the monthly. Let's look at the weekly. All right, weekly. You've got a weekly downtrend, obviously, so we lost the weekly. And obviously, it's still holding the monthly. Oh, actually, no, it's not holding the monthly. I lied. I lost the monthly. So this is pretty bad. Let's see, it had earnings. It had earnings yesterday, and it did really good. Wow, did really good, and it kind of bounced. So let's see. Let's look at the daily. I can't really see what happened with earnings. All right, so earnings, we got a positive bounce, okay? All right, cool. Nice bounce. Let's see this retracement size. So the way I play this is we go from the top of the bounce. All right, that was the top of the bounce down to the low. And we're trying to figure out our retracement size or our bounce, the level of the bounce, right? How much are we bouncing? And it looks like we're bouncing 50%, okay? So this is good, guys. If you got into some calls on this, this is a good one, to be honest. Da, da, da. So yeah, you're pretty much on the 1 hour probably. 1 hour time frame hasn't been lost, so this is perfect. Perfect. What do you want to see from a bullish stock? All right, you got your low there, low here. It's right at resistance. Okay, right at resistance. So we're looking. We already got our lower or higher low on the 1 hour. And let's see, it kind of had like a false breakout there. So this would kind of tell me to look at the 1 day chart again. All right, 1 day chart. But the bounce is good, 50%. That's bare minimum for, if I was a bull, I would have liked it to get to the 618, but 50% is the bare minimum, I think. So it gives you like 50-50 chances that this will happen. All right, 1 hour. This could still continue up, but um, yeah, I guess it could still continue up. So let's go back to the 1 hour. We're on the 1 hour. This needs to hold on the 1 hour, this level here. All right, but it did gap up, so that's bad. So it needs to hold 75. My guess is it won't. So in that case, you don't panic. Maybe you could have sold your options today if you have calls. And what I would be looking for here is a bounce on the daily chart. So let's delete this line. And you've got your low down here. All right, you've got your low down there. Let's delete this and probably do it the other way now because you set your high already. So set your fib. And best case scenario would be that you guys bounce off $76 even, right? So you would be looking for a daily bounce to occur at 76 to continue up. Okay, so maybe look to buy at 76. Put your stop loss real tight, and hopefully it goes up there or at $75. So um, those would be two ideal spots where it could bounce, right? 76 or $75 for Logitech, and that one's looking good, guys. But that's also going to depend on the overall market as well. So keep an eye on SPY and QQQ. What's with QQQ? You want to go over QQQ again? We can. Um, so pretty simple. I explained it earlier in the video, so I won't explain it again. If you missed that part, you can watch it again later on at the beginning. But we're pretty much watching this 30-minute. Where are we? All right, we're watching this 30-minute tightening range, guys, on QQQ. 30-minute tightening range. So something like this, okay? It's pretty much it for QQQ, right? It's going to tighten up into the Fed. What I said on this one is you can play puts up here, calls down here, but I would cut that off right around like, a couple hours before the Fed talks, right? Um, Try to make some profit in this zigzag that it's going to do. Um, but yeah, this is a big deal, guys, because if it breaks down lower, there's this level down here still, 334. And if we look at the bigger picture on QQQ, we were looking for a bounce because we were bouncing off. What were we bouncing off? We're bouncing off like the 0.5 level on the weekly chart. Okay. Or actually, not even. So QQQ on the weekly chart, we were bouncing off. And then look at this volume, guys. This is crazy. Crazy volume. So let's turn the volume off. I think SPY had a crazier volume. I think I mentioned it in the last video. But we're just bouncing here off of, I don't know, this level here up here. So if we lose that level with the Fed meeting and a combination of earnings, we could get down to this 316 on QQQ pretty quickly. Okay, but the issue with that is that we're already oversold on the daily chart. So the weekly is not oversold, but the daily is. So if you look at the daily chart, we're at 25. I don't think the RSI has been that low. What is this? So this is the COVID lows, 25. It got down to 25 during COVID, you see? And then we kind of had a bounce, and then it still dipped lower, just cooled off the RSI. So this big bounce here, maybe that's what it tried to do. And even if we do bounce on the daily tomorrow with the Fed, I'm still expecting bearishness, guys. So if you see here, our last daily high was way up. So we could maybe use 373, but the clear one is way up here, right? 390, 390 area. So we got to go all the way up to this zone. 390 zone for this to be considered bullish, in my opinion, like a bullish reversal, right? So, because right now the bounce is nothing, right? It's 0.23. We need our bounce to get up way higher, like 618, like 370 area, 360 area at the minimum on the daily chart. So this is overall still bearish, even if we were to bounce tomorrow on a positive Fed meeting. It's still bearish, guys, in my opinion. But you never know. This could be the low for a while, or it could get broken tomorrow. So we're watching that tightening range. Mike Cigarroa. Let's look at Disney. So Disney had a gap fill. I played this bear flag. I think it was on I can't remember, Friday, whenever the Netflix earnings was. All right, so this one had the huge gap fill. Okay. Down here to this level, 128, it almost filled it. You see how it didn't really fill it all the way? And actually, is this the daily chart? So it actually didn't really fill it all the way. All right, guys. So it needed to get all the way to 128 to actually fill it. But now, this is pretty much going to follow the same thing as the market, guys. We're in a tightening range. Wherever we go, you can see that here. There's two candles that haven't, well, this one did break actually. So let's look at the 1 hour. So it's on a 1 hour uptrend. Okay. And it kind of had a double top there. So here's our double top. It's at a trend line. And that's our move right there that we're hoping breaks bullish, right? But it did cool off RSIs quite a bit. So I could see bearish action too here. The level to play off of this one is, so anything over 137.68, that'll be bullish. Look to play some calls there. And bearish, anything under that 133.80 level would be bearish. Or even if you want to be a little more conservative, this level here. All right, but those are this is the pattern to watch here for Disney. And also keep in mind you have to be looking simultaneously at QQQ and SPY, because this is just going to follow whatever those two do. So it's either going to break up through this level or down and fill this gap at 128. So for puts, the target would be 128. And for calls are a little more juicy because there is a big gap. There's a big gap on this one, guys. There's a giant hole here. There's two gaps. There's one small one here and a huge one up here at 147 area. So that's a $10 move, and the one over here is also like an $8 move. All right, guys, so this one's pretty good in both directions. Just keep an eye on this wedge type pattern. What time is the meeting? I believe the meeting's at 2 p.m. Not sure what time zone that is, but definitely something you guys want to figure out. All right, does anyone have any other tickers? If not, I'll leave you guys with that. And good luck on the market today. Watch that tightening range. Try to play it during the day. Even if you play it with small money, that's one way to learn on that one. All right, guys. That's all for today. All right, guys. Everybody have a good night.